Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be formulating vibrant reds. How can we form a vibrant red, what to do in those aha situations, and how to not have your reds faded and hollow looking. I would use a demi color when my client already lives in that warm world. So your 3, 4, 5, and 6. That's when I would go and reach for my demi, because that's where it's going to enhance the demi and play beautifully together. All right, so let's begin. Let's say your client comes in and she has this beautiful level 8 base and she wants a vibrant red. To me, this is the perfect base to start that on. And if you want it, what I would suggest is if you want it to be really vibrant, you could use a booster in your line, or Schwarzkopf has something called Chroma ID, which is amazing. It's quick. You can use it at the sink. You can rinse her down and then apply orange or red, whichever one you want to pop more at the sink, so that when you put the color on, it has something to grab onto and it doesn't slide off the hair and make it hollow. For this swatch, I'm going to be using IGORA Vibrance, and I'm going to be using the lotion activator. Definitely wouldn't use gel unless I'm refreshing a red. You want to use the lotion activator because, again, we want more coverage. We don't want it to look like sheer lip gloss. So my ratio for this, I'm going to use a level 7-8. And then what I like to do is usually put about 1 part ratio of 5-88, which is a level 5- intense red, because I want a little bit of depth. Because I know if I just put a level 7 on, it's going to be a little bit brighter. But because I want it vibrant, I just want to add a little bit of a level 5 to give me some depth. And then of course I'm going to be adding maybe like a couple pumps of this just to get the red really lush. And then I'm going to be using the 6 lotion activator because I want coverage. You could use the 13 if you want it maybe a little bit brighter, but we want it really rich. All right, here we go. So for today, I'm gonna do 20 grams of 7-88. Now remember, this is just for inspiration. You can always adjust to your client or formulate to how you feel, how bright you want it, how dark you want it, how vibrant you want it, how muted you want it. This is just to give you some inspiration. Okay, so we're gonna do 20 grams. Perfect, okay. And then I think for the 5-88, I know I said the ratio will be 1 part of this to 2 parts of 7-88. But I think I'm only gonna do 5 grams because I don't want it too dark. I don't want too much depth. I still want it pretty vibrant. But that level 5 is just gonna give me that deeper, rich level than just a level 7 on its own. Okay, so we're gonna do 5 grams of this, totaling 25 grams in total. Now I'm gonna add about 3 or 5 pumps of the Chroma ID red into the formulation. So let's go 1, 2, 3. I'm feeling a little bit generous, so let's do 4. Okay, maybe 5. You can never have enough of this if you're trying to formulate for like a really vibrant red. So next up, again, my favorite, the wisp. And just get that going really good because you want to break up that Chroma ID. Look at the deep red that I'm seeing already. I love formulating reds. They always look so juicy when you're mixing. It's my favorite. When I'm formulating red, a key tip that I can tell you today is, especially when I'm adding Chroma ID in, is that I like to mix everything to get it really going and a nice consistency before I add my developer. For me, it just helps break up the Chroma ID a little bit better before I add in my developer. So now I'm gonna do equal parts of my 6 1.9% lotion activator, IGORA Vibrance, equal parts. So that's gonna be about 30 grams. And and then I'll show you. So now, because I've pre-mixed it, look how beautiful it just glides. So now that we've got a beautiful consistency going and all the chunks are broken up, we're going to apply this onto our level 8 strand. Now, after you finish applying, you can also add, instead of your red chroma ID, you could also add orange if you wanted to have more of that orange tone direction, because sometimes red can look a little bit on the violet side. So if you want it to be more of a true red, I would definitely grab my 0-77 or orange booster or chroma ID orange to give it more of a orange tone direction instead of a cooler red tone direction. All right, so we're just going to set the swatch aside and let it formulate for about 15 minutes, and then I'm gonna check up on it to see if I wanna add another 5 or if to me it looks ready and we can rinse. So what I like to do is just kind of fold it, so I'm letting the color really just oxidize there. The next strand that we're going to do, I'm going to formulate for more of a brighter copper with a little bit of a red tone direction. I feel like when it comes to coppers too, we tend to find that sometimes it looks too hollow or it's not vibrant enough. So again, you know, this is where you can decide based on the client's hair if you want to use a permanent color or if you want to reach for the demi color. For this, I'm going to be formulating with the permanent color because our starting level is a little bit brighter. So we're going to be reaching for our permanent line because we need more coverage. I think I'm going to formulate for like something that lives in the level 7 world. I feel like that's like a nice true copper, because if we look on here, that's kind of where the coppers live, is in your level 7 and 6, but mainly 6, but because we want it a little bit brighter, 7. So for our swatch, our level 9-10 swatch, I'm going to be customizing a level 7-77 because I want to tailor it, and you know, I want to have control of how much depth is in there and how much lightness is in there instead of just using my 7-77 tube. So I'm going to be using 20 grams of 8-77, my level 8-copper with my level 6-copper, but I'm only going to be using 10 grams of this. Now I'm playing around with simple math, but again, you can always change your ratio to however you want your copper to look like. This is again just for inspiration. Now what I also want to do is I'm going to add my 0-77, no level, -77 copper. This is my booster, so this is going to enrich this formula and make it a little bit more brighter and vibrant and have a lot of copper pigments in there. But then I'm going to be playful and I'm going to use Chroma ID, and I'm going to add like 3 splashes of red just to give me like not a straight copper, but just have a little something to it. So here we go, 20 grams of 8-77. And now I'm going to add my copper booster 0-77. Add about 3 pumps of the Chroma ID red. 2, 3. Look how pretty that looks. Okay. So I like to mix my color before I add my developer in, especially when I'm doing pretty fun tones like this. I don't know why, it's just a preference thing, but I just find that it breaks up the color a little bit better. For this color, because I'm using IGORA Royal Permanent, I'm going to be using IGORA Royal 10 Volume Developer. Now the reason for that is, again, because I want to deposit onto my swatch. I don't need that much lift. I don't need to lift it. And the ratio is 1:1. Okay, now the fun part. We're gonna now put it onto our level 9 swatch. Now remember, the goal is to not make a hollow copper. Remember, if your client is overly processed or really super light, you might want to fill her with, you know, just a straight booster like a 0.55 or the Chroma ID when you're at the sink before you apply your final toner. That's just gonna help with longevity, it's gonna help with fading, it's gonna help it look not so hollow. I just finished applying this formula, so now I'm gonna fold it up, put it away, and let it process for the full 30 minutes, but I will check up on it in 25 minutes to see how it's doing or if it needs more time. This has been the full 20 minutes of our first formulation, and to me it looks beautiful, so I'm just gonna go ahead and rinse, and I'll show you it when I'm done. Alrighty guys, so we are done with our strands. We have washed them, and here is the finished results. Those couple pumps of Chroma ID Red that I put in kind of gives it a different tone direction. It looks a little bit more rich of a copper and not so much of a bright pylone, like you know those construction pylone cones. It's just more of a rich copper. Now what I love about the red is that you can see the depth of the level 5-8A. Now let's say you wanted it a bit darker, you can always customize it and play around and add more of the level 5, or let's say you wanted a little bit of a brighter red, you can add less. So that's solely going to depend on what you want your outcome to look like. I hope you guys enjoyed watching today's mini series on formulating coppers and reds and how to get them from not going too hollow. Stay tuned for more videos like these.